What's up, guys? This is the Last Down Podcast, episode 20, week 3. I'm your boy, Angi.
I'm your boy Lopez.
As I mentioned earlier, week 3 had some very good games. But we'll hold off on that for a little bit. We're going to talk about, first and foremost, the games that were still interesting, but not as interesting, because I feel like it's this game. I feel like this week was so good that the very good games had to have their designation. Like, so we're just gonna kind of go quickly through the first few games that were not too appealing. They were some things, some takeaways. We're starting off with the Lions and the Falcons. First off, Sam Laporta seems like he's already a top 8 receiving tight end already. 8 receptions, 84 yards, and he's been consistently getting some volume already. I mean, he just went off. And not to mention Pitts, five five catches, 41 yards. London, 2 catches, 31 yards. The passing game is non-existent even when they're trailing. So we're talking about this in real life and in fantasy. It's really concerning for Pitts and London to be in Atlanta. I mean, they clearly have the talent, but overall, that game just showed me that Desmond Ridder is very likely not going to be that guy.
Yeah, I mean, it was a brutal game for Atlanta on all cylinders. Bijan was their bright spot over there in Atlanta, and he just didn't have a good game. Drake London did not have a good game either, and Pitts again underperforms. Like I said last week, it's just bad. It's just bad football out there, and I just don't see them I don't know. I just don't see them having a good year.
I actually also I saw in a video that Kyle Pitts and Drake London for the year have less receptions than the amount Keenan Allen got in week 3. He had 18, but
That's crazy.
yes. But before we get to that game, let's first talk about your team, the Saints against the Packers.
Can I t-
Saints,
can I take this over?
yes.
Yeah, so honestly, I thought it was over. 17-0 at half. I was like, this game's over. The Packers have no shot. There's no hope. I have no hope. I have no hope at all. Where's all the love? The love is gone. No, I'm just kidding. Jordan Love bounced back, and yeah, the second half was all Packers. I mean, I do gotta say that Derek Carr got hurt, and prayers up for him. It looks like it's gonna be a shoulder injury from what I'm hearing. So yeah, it's a unlucky sight for New Orleans, but yeah, the Packers bounced back 18-17. They got New Orleans got. I mean, the Packers got lucky that the kicker for the New Orleans Saints missed that kick. It was a doink. It barely did not touch. It didn't go in. It hit the doink. So yeah, the Packers won, big win. I'm happy, but hopefully the injuries can go away, please.
Yeah, I just wish injuries didn't exist because I feel like if Carr stayed that game, they would have not choked that lead. But, you know, it is a sprained AC joint, so he shouldn't miss too much time. Love, though, I mean, love this, love that, but seems like there's going to be a lot of love for Love in Green Bay. 2 total touchdowns, hit Dubs. Dubs actually for sure looks way better this year already. 5 catches, 73 yards, and 1 touchdown. But overall, that game, it was very good. It was very good.
A hundred
And
percent. 100%.
and Lambeau Field is going to be a very interesting destination to go to. But on to the next game. The Chargers and the Vikings. Your division rival. They suck. They suck.
A
They
hundred
allowed over
percent.
four. They allowed over 400 to Herbert. How is this possible? 18 receptions, 215 yards, 59-yard TD to Mike Williams, and Mike Williams went off too before the unfortunate torn ACL. Chargers can never stay fully healthy, but hopefully that's the only real serious injury of the year for them because that's a big blow. Not to mention though, but before I pass it out to you, Kirk Cousins again going off, but then he choked. This time around, it was on him. He choked in the end zone during that interception. And Jefferson also going off 7 for 149 and finally got a TD. He really could have had a nerd TD if he didn't fumble that against the Eagles, but 149 yards is his lowest in the season so far for Jefferson, 149, and they've lost all their games.
Yeah, Minnesota is just underperforming. And am I surprised? Yes. I might be biased as a Packers fan and be like, oh, I'm happy, which I am. I'll be honest. I am kind of happy that the Vikings are, on their downfall. But it's just surprising that a guy like Justin Jefferson has to go through this. It reminds me of the Randy Moss days because the Vikings never got anywhere with Randy Moss. And look at Randy Moss, one of the best wide receivers of all time. So it's kind of like the cycle's repeating. And I don't know about you, but I'm hearing a lot of rumblings about Kirk Cousins. I'm hearing a lot of trade rumblings going around that the Jets should push for him, that the Jets are one quarterback away from, making it all the way. I mean, I don't think Kirk Cousins is the answer. The brights are too light for him on primetime games. And the Jets have a lot of primetime games, which is next week. They got the Chiefs. So it's like, well, if this happens, is Kirk Cousins really going to change? Are we really serious
I
about this?
I'm not gonna sit here and just let you slander Kirk on that level. Yes, he's not the best of the best, but he's above average. He literally has thrown his ass off all these games. And he had 4 passing TDs against the Eagles. He could have had 5 if Jefferson didn't fumble. The team around him sucks. Besides him and Jefferson and Addison and Hawkinson, that whole team sucks. Well, actually, Daniel Hunter too.
No,
He's the only guy on defense that's actually good.
no, no,
They
no, no.
suck. He has
You're
5 or 6 sacks. Hunter has 5 or 6 sacks.
No, I'm talking about Kirk Cousins, man. The man has had two costly freaking picks, two costly picks, you know, against the Bucks, against the last night with the Chargers. Like, you gotta be kidding me, man. Kirk Cousins is just okay. He can have stellar games, man. But if I'm being honest, look at his fucking primetime record, man. You cannot lie to me that he's not one of the most horrendous. I mean, when it comes to primetime games, with all the pressure on his back, he cannot carry this team. He cannot.
I mean, the only primetime game he had this year, though, he actually did good. The fumbling was an issue. He did turn it over a little bit, but him throwing the ball, he was actually freaking going off. He could have won that game if Madison didn't fumble, if the kick return didn't fumble. He really could have. But I'm not gonna sit here and keep on the coulda, woulda, shoulda. But onto the Jets. I don't think they should get Kirk Cousins either. But at the same time, I can see a world where it happens. I do think, if I remember correctly, Kirk Cousins is in the last year of his contract, and if that's the case, I can actually see it happen because, like, obviously, Kirk Cousins, like, he's better than Zach Wilson. We can at least agree with that, right?
Oh, 100%, man. You cannot compare Zach Wilson and Kirk Cousins. What are you trying to
Exactly.
say? What are you trying to say, man? Zach Wilson is horrendous. I can throw better than that. I could play quarterback for the Jets and I could probably get a freaking touchdown before he does. Like it's bad. It's bad. And that's why the rumblings are growing and growing and growing and growing that Kirk Cousins is going there because like you said, his contract year, it's pretty much this year and the Vikings should honestly get rid of him. Honestly, move
They
on.
should. They should at this rate.
Yeah.
But they should get. I would want to say they should get rid of Jefferson because he hasn't been extended. So,
Ooh,
but Zach Wilson on Sunday, 18 for 36, 157 yards. That's pretty bad. I mean, in a sense, it's New England, but at the same time, it's still pretty bad. And Garrett Wilson and Zach Wilson have been clearly all over social media for multiple times where it's clear that Garrett Wilson's talking to him, trying to like tell him do this, do that. When your receiver constantly has to get in your face, like it's bad. You're not doing enough, and it's clear that Zach Wilson at this point. It sucks that he was number 2 overall because now we just talk about him relentlessly. He's in a big market, and now he's cut. I don't even think he's gonna really have an NFL career, and it's clear, in my opinion, that the Jets need to get a veteran quarterback, and I'm pretty sure you're on the same page. But at the same time, what's going to happen? Because, Aaron Rodgers is gone, for the year. And what other veteran quarterback would really fit them right now?
I I mean it has to be Kirk Cousins. It just I just don't know who else can come and save this team at this point. And like you said, that locker room is dividing day by day by day by day by day by day. How many the frustration we saw on in in the sidelines was crazy, man. Garrett Wilson going in Wilson's face, going in the coach's face, and then Carter, the third string running back, he was pissed. He was heated. And when the team is that like when it's showing that type of frustrations, it's when it's going bad. It's going horrendous. And there was a comment I saw. I was like, "Oh, don't be surprised if by like halfway through the season, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson request trades," which is not going to be. It's not going to happen. It's not because they're barely in their second year. But it's just the Jets are dysfunctional. They need a backup as soon as possible, and I mean not a backup. They need a veteran. And the only guy I have in mind is Kirk Cousins. Really, there's no other guy that can come in and help save this team.
Yeah, that loss on Sunday, I knew at that point that Minnesota was for sure not making the playoffs at this rate. That was a big game. That was a big game between the Chargers and the Vikings because that essentially was going to put one team out of the playoffs, in my opinion, for sure.
Right, right.
So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I think the Vikings have the Panthers next. They're both 0-3. If the Vikings lose to the Panthers, at that point, that season is fully lost. Fully. It's pretty much already almost fully lost.
Yep,
But if they lose to the Panthers week 4,
it's over.
it I don't even know what I would say. Like, really, Kirk Cousins could get traded for sure after that. For sure.
Definitely.
But onto the Bills and the Commanders. Blowout. And I just really want to touch on the fact that Sam Howell, 4 picks. 4. One per quarter, essentially, on average. That was a horrendous outing for him. It was a tough defense, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it kind of killed the momentum he had for sure. I mean, 170 passing yards. He wasn't really great.
Yeah, it's expected. I was expecting a blowout. I predicted a blowout. And there was no match for Diggs. There was no match for Allen. There was no match for Zach Moss. Zach Moss, like we can't deny, was going crazy.
Not Zach Moss. You mean James Cook?
James Cook. Oh my God. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting ahead of myself. James Cook was cooking. Um, yeah, I mean the Bills are looking good. After that horrendous week 1, they're looking way better, and that's expected. Josh Allen's balling out, and yeah, like you said, Sam Howell just collapsed. I mean, I can't put it on him really. It's against an elite team, but we'll see. I mean, if this continues, if this is a pattern, then this experiment might end sooner than we thought.
I will give him a slack just because this was his first real bad outing, but those picks were pretty bad. Some of them for sure. He was just ruthless with the ball. I feel like at the same time, he's still not a rookie, but he still hasn't even played 10 games, so he needs some more time. But on to the next game, the Titans and the Browns. I just want to, before I pass it out to you, I just want to tell you the Titans got 130 yards overall on offense. Overall, Henry and Spears just combined for 26 rushing yards on 15 attempts. Tannehill went back to being 10 and mid, 13 for 25 and 104. But Watson, surprisingly, after that horrendous outing, I literally thought he was for sure 100% done. But apparently he decided he wanted to be looking like his old self a little bit. 27 for 33, 289 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, um, it was a very interesting what I saw on Sunday in that game.
I'm mad. I'm mad because Derrick Henry failed me. He had negative points going into halftime. That Cleveland defense is no joke. I thought Cleveland was going to be completely bad, but that defense is amazing. That defense is actually kind of crazy. And if I'm being honest, if you have a running back going against the Cleveland defense, you got to be careful. You got to be
Or
careful.
the Titans defense, they still the Browns couldn't really run the ball,
I mean,
but more
Ford.
Cleveland.
I mean,
Yeah,
Ford was still cooking. Ford was still cooking. You can't
you
deny
have
that.
receiving touchdown. You have receiving touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, still, I mean, um, that defense is okay. I won't deny it, but Amari Cooper was cooking it, dude. Come on now,
Yeah,
Amari Cooper was cooking too, so it's
the
not like,
Titans secondary is bad though. They're actually one of the worst in the league though. So
yeah, I
it
mean,
it had to
they're not good.
happen. It had to happen, or else
Yeah,
it's really panic time in Cleveland.
yeah.
But Lopez, we're on to the good parts. We're on to the good parts, Lopez. Now it's time to really just Oh, talk about these games. First and foremost, the Broncos and the Dolphins. How do you allow 70 points? A Chain and Mostert, 8 touchdowns combined, 2 fumbles by Sutton, and the Broncos are bad. The defense is so bad. I literally cannot believe I saw what I saw. The running backs had no trouble scoring. They were just running in, jogging in, blown coverages. Pat Surtain couldn't even freaking catch Chosen. Robbie Chosen, bro. Robbie Chosen literally just jogged into the end zone, and Surtain was still trying to tackle him. This was sad. I have never seen anything like this. But I don't like Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. I don't like him too much either. But I can't believe I'm saying this, but that team, Russell Wilson's actually not the problem right now. Like he's not like week 1 and week 2 he barely lost, but he's not fully the problem right now. It's the defense, and sometimes it's just turnovers. Russell Wilson, I think, only has 1 or 2 interceptions this year. I may be wrong, but I think off the top of my head, he has like 1 or 2, and he actually has like 7 touchdowns. But one more thing before I pass it out to you. What the best part, the Bears and the Broncos next week. They're for sure the 2 worst teams at this point. The Caleb Williams sweepstakes is gonna be for sure on display next week. Now off to you.
Humiliation. Humiliation for the Broncos. They should be ashamed of themselves. And like you said, Russell Wilson wasn't the issue. It was the defense. This was a defense that was ranked pretty high last season. It was considered number one for some, and it just collapsed. It was a complete collapse. The Broncos, luckily, it wasn't in Denver, because if it was in Denver, the fans would have probably started throwing trash and things on the field. Because man, I would be pissed. If I'm a Broncos fan, I'm seriously considering switching teams, because Jesus Christ, this team is horrendous. 70-20, man. That's a college football score. I said in my TikTok, I was like, this is like the 2000 Miami Hurricanes came and took out the Colorado Buffaloes right now, man. Because holy crap, it was horrendous. Tua went off, Tyreek Hill went off, Devon. Actually, I just read Devon Achane wants to be known as Devon Achan. He wants to know as Devon Achan now. So he went off. Raheem Mostert went off. Like, God, man, the Dolphins are legit. No one, no one could come to me and tell me that Tua is not that guy. No one could come to me and tell me the Miami Dolphins are frauds, because the Dolphins are legit and they're here, and they're gonna take the Bills to the max. They're gonna
I
take the
will
Bills to the max.
I will say with 100% certainty, the Dolphins are the best offense in the NFL right now. 100% certainty. It's undeniable that they have a bunch of speedsters. It's just like it should be illegal. Waddle wasn't even playing that game, bro. Let's actually really think about that. Waddle wasn't even playing that game, and this still happened. They literally just tore them up, bro.
If Water was in this game, man, we're looking at 80+ points. Not even gonna lie.
I think if I remember correctly, besides the last possession, before that, every possession was touchdown. I
Exactly.
literally do think it legit was touchdown, 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 like straight touchdown after touch.
It was bad. It was that bad.
I mean, practically no one's ever seen that.
You want me
Like,
to, you want me to describe it to you how it was? It was like a big brother playing against a little brother in Madden, but the little brother's remote was off, or his remote was just disconnected, man. Because Jesus, the Denver Broncos should be ashamed of themselves. They're horrendous. Russell Wilson wasn't the issue. Yeah, Sean Payton, get ready, buddy. Get ready. You're gonna be out of town soon enough.
bro, I'm really so interested in how that locker room was after that loss. How Sean Payton was. I wish I could meet her, just observe
You know how he
what
was?
happened.
He probably was like, "Hey guys, better luck next time. We're gonna win next time, boys. We're gonna play the Raiders. We're gonna beat them next time." Like,
No, they
nah,
played
man. Who they play?
the Bears week 4.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. We're gonna beat the Bears, guys, and watch them fucking lose. That would be hilarious.
But before we get to the Bears, let's get to the very good parts, the upsets. Houston 37, Jacksonville 17, bro. Like how? Stroud 20 for 30, two touchdowns, 280. IE native showing now representing 909, which is where we're from. Tank Dell 5 for 145 and one TD. I mean, when I said he was gonna be the second best rookie, you were criticizing me. And now look at what's happening. Look at what's happening. Trevor Lawrence, 3 touchdowns in 3 games, though. If I'm a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, I'd be a little concerned right now. I don't know how you have all these weapons, and the last 2 weeks you've only scored 26 points. Week 1 was more what I expected, 31 points against Indy. It's for sure looking like inconsistency again for Trevor Lawrence. And at this point, I think he's an average quarterback. Everyone wants him to be some elite MVP. I just don't think he is that at this point. I think he's average. I think he's very inconsistent. He has his moments for sure. But what are your takeaways?
I gotta say, man, Trevor Lawrence is not the guy that I thought he was. After a pretty good season last season, it's been looking pretty rough. But I gotta take back my Tank Dell. I mean, I didn't slander Tank Dell, let's be honest. I didn't slander him that much. But I did say that you having him in the top five was kind of too high for me. And I kind of could say it's still a little too high. But if I'm being honest, they got something brewing in Houston. It's still a young team. It's still a collective of young individuals, and it's all run by a first year head coach. So the team is coming along, and I mean they could make some noise in the AFC South, in the division that's pretty wide open now. Um, but we'll see. I'm glad for Houston. I'm glad for Houston.
I think Houston, they might go 2-2. I feel like if I remember correctly, they're facing. Who are they facing actually? No, they're actually never mind. I thought they were facing the Falcons, but they're not. I think they're facing the Steelers, but they can still go 2-2 in that. But on to the second upset. Ravens, Colts. The reason why it's an upset is obviously because Gardner Minshew was the quarterback. I mean, I'm not trying to slander Minshew, but he's obviously the backup in Indy. And this went to overtime, so it wasn't too much of an upset in the sense that it was pretty close. But Lamar, you really let Gardner Minshew beat you? There's 2 fumbles on Baltimore's side that essentially decided this game. But Lamar still had the game on the ground, 101 yards, two rushing TDs. And honestly, I'm just still a little like surprised in the sense that Lamar didn't really air it out. I mean, the conditions were kind of bad, but I thought he would get a little bit more than 200 at least, like closer to 300. Indy was definitely, in my opinion, was not the flashiest secondary for me. So what are your remarks to this?
Now I can talk about Zach Moss. Zach Moss went off. He went for over 100 yards rushing, and he had a receiving touchdown. He had a career game, and I mean, what can I say? The Colts don't need Jonathan Taylor. Plain and simple. They don't need Jonathan Taylor. When you have Michael Pittman balling out, when you got Zach Moss balling out, when you got your backup Gardner Minshew balling out and beating teams like Baltimore, yeah, I think the Colts should be fine. And with Anthony Richardson back next week, I hope, I pray, um, they'll be set. I'm seeing a lot of problems with this Colts team, and I think they're legitimate AFC South contenders.
It's very interesting that right now the Texans and the Colts both look competitive for sure. And they realistically, I feel like they'll still barely not win a division. But I see a world now where they can be competitive and fight for it. But on to the best upset, the funniest upset, the most interesting upset, the Dallas Cowboys getting upset by Arizona, but they lost by 12. And Trayvon Diggs, like don't get me wrong, that's a big loss. And 3 O-linemen not being in the game is a loss. But you still lost to Josh Dobbs. Dak, really just one TD? 25 for 40, 249. Like, that's not too bad. But one TD, one interception, you know, and then James Conner, he tore it up. He tore up that Dallas front seven, which surprises me. 14 attempts for 98 yards. And at this point, it's like, I don't think it will ever be their year. You know, the Cowboys. It's very inconsistent already. Like, how do you lose to the Cardinals by 12, really? And don't get me wrong, the Cardinals were very creative. They're very creative. I literally am surprised by some of the stuff they did. And the Cowboys, nah, nah. They at first they're pretty convincing, but then again they beat Daniel Jones and Zach Wilson. So at the same time, it's like give or take.
I wanted to briefly touch upon. I was looking because you were getting roasted in the comment section by a lot of Cowboy fans. That were saying that, oh, why didn't you say that our three linemen were out? Our three main offensive linemen were out, like Zach Martin was out. And a lot of them just came defensive at you. They were like, why didn't you list them? So, like, well, why didn't you list them?
Because that's a different situation. They lost by 12 to the Cardinals. Okay? They lost by 12 to Josh Dobbs. Okay? And Dak did didn't do the best. He didn't do the best, if we're being honest. He really didn't. And at the same time, it's like, they they let James Conner run all over them. I feel like this was a different type of game, you know? And not to mention, I dislike the Cowboys. And I'll be honest, I dislike the Cowboys. And I know you hate the Cowboys.
Well,
So
let me continue. I'm not trying to defend them, but I will say you kind of should be more impartial in this situation because you listed all the Ravens inactives and not the Cowboys. But I will say, I do agree the offensive line was not the issue at all. The offensive line was not the issue. It was the defense. The defense was horrendous. Horrendous, horrendous, horrendous. For the last 2 weeks, they've been the best defense in the game, and all of a sudden they collapse against the Cardinals. There's something going on there. There's something they got to fix there, and it's not on the offense, and it's not on the offensive lineman. They lost Trevon Diggs. That's one player of all, the whole entire defense. You still got Micah Parsons. You still got Lawrence. Like, there's guys there that could still shake.
Gilmore, but even then Gilmore, he's older
Yeah,
and he let Hollywood Brown cook him. So
yeah.
might not be the best thing
That
anymore.
that's what I'm saying. I don't like. It's not the offensive line. It's not that. Dak was, pretty bad, but it's just the offensive line. You can't just be like, oh, getting mad about the offensive line. No, get mad at your defense. The defense was the one that let you down. You're losing. You're getting cooked by the Cardinals, man. That's a reality check. That's a reality check. And yeah,
And
hold on,
also,
hold on. The Cowboys did fall to reality. Now this is their wake up call. If they want to make their run, then they better fix their defense and they better get to thinking they're not that team because I'm pretty sure they probably got too overconfident too.
I agree. I feel like I feel like I don't understand why fans were so mad at me for slandering Dak when the reality is, how many playoff games has he won? What's his playoff record? He had a crucial interception in the fourth quarter. He didn't really freaking score in the fourth quarter. I don't think he even scored in the fourth quarter when it matters the most. So, yes, I know the reason why I'm holding Dak to a different standard is because it's the Dallas Cowboys. They always talk so much. They always want to open their mouths. The Ravens I have more respect for, and it is pretty clear. I'm being biased because the Ravens aren't on this. They aren't annoying. Then Lamar, you know, he didn't throw a crucial pick to end the game. He did fumble. I will say he did fumble, but Lamar had more overall yards than Dak. Lamar, his team lost because Justin Tucker didn't make a field goal. He missed it. So I feel like that game wasn't really as bad of a loss. And not to mention, a lot of people were saying Cardinals were the worst team, the worst defense. And props to them, they're overperforming. But who's better, the Cardinals or the Colts? Answer that. So I think the Cowboy fans need to just chill. They need to accept that Dak is not that guy no more. They need to accept that the best he could do is just maybe give them one playoff win. because he's not being Jalen Hurts, and I don't know who else on that at this point. He's not being the Niners, so he needs to give up. I'm just playing. But nevertheless, let's go on to the Panthers and the Seahawks. I just I'm just surprised by. Sorry, my throat feels dry, but I had to pass by Adam Thielen and just acknowledge that these last 2 weeks he's looked very good. This past week, 11 receptions, 145 yards, one TD. Sheesh, like that looks like Minnesota Thielen. I watched the game, and then Chart 2, 4 catches, 86 yards, one TD. Dalton overall had over 300 passing yards. He had 361 with two TDs. They lost, but he was moving the ball. And at this point, it also begs the question, like, maybe should they let Bryce Young sit a little bit longer, give Dalton just like a little bit of starts, and then maybe use them as trade bait for the Jets.
What I gotta say is basically the Seahawks are legit. You know, they had that stumble against the Lions, but I think overall they're legit. You know, the team is just from all cylinders. You know, Ken Walker, if he stays healthy, he can easily be a top running back, top five running back. And you know, Metcalf again went off. But like you said, the Panthers are just kind of not that team that we thought. You know, I mean, I didn't think they were gonna be horrendous, but I didn't think they were gonna be that good either. And it's just the reality. Bryce Young's best weapon is Adam Thielen, a 33-year-old. You know, one is he needs weapons. He needs weapons there, and he needs offensive line help too. But then again, I'm kind of I shit the bed right here, and it wasn't Bryce Young playing. It was Andy Dalton. It was Andy Dalton playing. What am I doing, bro? Yeah, Andy Dalton. Yeah. Bryce
Why do you
Young.
think I said what I said, bro? I literally said Andy Dalton, 361. Should they sit
I
Bryce
brain
Young a little
farted. I
bit?
brain farted. I brain farted. Yeah,
And
Andy Dalton. He's not that guy. My bad. He's Andy Dalton's not that guy. Bryce Young, come back and maybe they'll have a shot.
I don't know. I feel like I saw more life on that offense than versus when I saw Bryce Young. Bryce Young is still young. He still needs to get the obviously the work. But uh yeah, I mean the Seahawks too, Ken Walker, two rushing TDs. But like I said though, maybe if I were the Panthers, maybe I'll let Dalton start a few games, get some good stats, trade him to the Jets. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, I mean he didn't do that bad, bro. He really didn't do that bad.
I just don't think the Jets would do that to themselves.
Well, I mean, we didn't think the Jets and the Panthers would trade for Sam Darnold. You feel me? Like we wouldn't have thought that. But nevertheless, that game that was really my takeaways. I just thought about what if Andy Dalton and Bryce Young should, you know,
I don't
just
know. I
but
don't know.
but it's time to move on to the Chiefs and the Bears. Keep this one a little brief because it was a blowout and as expected. But Fields 11 for 22. Didn't even have 100 passing yards, Lopez. 99 passing yards. One TD, one interception. Is it time to move on? Is he really not the answer at this point? I'm gonna let
I
you answer that.
as an Ohio State fan, it hurts. It hurts me. Nah, I'm just kidding. The reality is that the Justin Fields experiment is over. It's over. He blamed the coaches. He blamed the coaches, but he took accountability and said, "Oh, it's on me." And it is on him, man. The Bears can't do anything with him. They can't. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me the Bears, you know, could do something with Jalen Hurts. I mean Jalen Hurts. I mean Justin Fields. Justin Fields. You can't tell me that. Justin Fields is not that guy, and it's plain and simple. It's His time is up. I don't know who the Bears backup is, but get ready. Start getting some some high reps in because it's time. It's time. Justin Fields is just not that guy. He shows no promise. It feels like
I
every week he gets worse and worse and worse and worse. Because week one, he was okay, but the Packers defense was pressuring him. Week two was horrendous. And now week three, it's just abysmal. It's over.
I mean, it's looking like at this point, I'm pretty much on the same page with you. I don't think he's gonna be the quarterback next year. Um, but yeah, I mean, Justin Fields, he has promise. I just think he's not built for the NFL. On to the last Sunday game. Jimmy G sucks. The Raiders suck. I don't know why they went for a field goal when they were down 8 with 2 minutes left, because that essentially cost them the game for sure. For sure, they should have went for the fourth down. They should have went for it. They should have just went for that. And they still had timeouts. And Jimmy G, 3 interceptions though. And now he's in concussion protocol. Maybe that's an excuse, but he sucks. I mean, Devontae Adams free him, 13 receptions, 172 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He was the whole offense pretty much, and they still lost to the Steelers, who got cooked by the freaking Browns. I mean, not Browns, the Niners, whose defense is very good. But then the Steelers, they're 2-1. They're all right. But this game, if I were a Raiders fan, if I were a Bears fan, if I were a Panthers fan, if I were a Jets fan right now, I'd be hating life for sure. I mean, all the stuff that's happening. But overall, what's your takeaway from the Raiders and Steelers?
The Raiders stink. And they got to move on from McDaniels. They do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say it, but McDaniels is not that guy. And the experiment is running out. It's running out. It's running its course. If you're really gonna depend on Devontae Adams your whole entire game, it's over. Josh Jacobs has fell off, and now it's showing why that Raiders didn't get that extension in, man, because he is bad. Josh Jacobs is bad right now, and I don't know what can fix the Raiders now. I feel like it's Jimmy G, the main culprit. Yeah, because he's a system quarterback and he's not doing good. He's not. Um, it's it's
Bro, literally, I will say, besides Devontae and Adams, he's been good with Jacoby Myers. But besides that, like, he's so dependent on them. Like, those two, but
that's how
especially Adams.
that's how it was in San Francisco. He was depending on Debo all the whole time. Debo, Kettle, and that was it. So you got to move on from Jimmy G. I'm sorry. It's time to either tank for a guy or I don't know what, but I think Jimmy G's going to get benched. Plain and simple.
I do think too, because what's his name? I don't remember his name. I think his name is actually Aiden O'Connell. He
Yeah,
had a very good preseason. The backup had a good preseason, so they for sure, I can imagine, they will for sure give him a shot at some point, because I don't think they're gonna win many games. And now on to the Monday night games. First off, start off with the Eagles and Buccaneers. The Eagles dominated as I expected. Baker Mayfield finally started looking mid. And despite 2 TDs, 2 interceptions from Hurts, he still won this game, And Swift, 16 carries, 130 yards. It's pretty clear that Swift and Kelsey are clearly a very good tangent, if you know what I mean. I mean, Kelsey's a good center, and then just the way Swift runs through Kelsey, it's perfect.
no, yeah. You didn't even let me talk about the Chiefs game, man. Actually, you did. I'm just playing. No, I mean the main takeaway of the Chiefs game is Taylor Swift being in attendance because the whole media was on that. Oh, Taylor Swift with Kelsey. Oh my God. Like it was the whole damn, time, the whole game. It wasn't even the Chiefs were in, I mean, the Chiefs were blowing out the Bears so bad that it was just all about Taylor Swift. But yeah, the real Swift and Kelsey combination was going on tonight. The Eagles just dominated. The Eagles dominated on all cylinders. The defense was crazy, getting sacks, forced fumbles, safeties. Yeah, the Bucks just fell down to earth today. And what can I say? The Eagles are dominant, but again, I just feel like they're not showing enough to me to convince me still. They're not showing enough in the passing game to convince me enough to be like, okay, this team is set for another Super Bowl run. You get me? Like don't get me wrong, the rushing is great, and you got Kenneth Gainwell, you got Rashad Penny, and you got DeAndre Swift. You know, so that's dude. Anyone would wish for those three running backs. You know, those could easily be running back ones in other teams. So it's like the rushing game is okay. I just need to see more out of that passing game.
It's true. The passing game has been underwhelming, but I'm not too concerned. I do think the Eagles can make another Super Bowl run. The only team in their way right now at this point to me is the Niners. Because the Niners, they're doing business. They're handling business. Ayuk is gone. Oh, that's okay. We can still use Steve-O and we can still use Kittle. Oh, if one of them fall off, oh, that's okay. We have CMC. And the defense is always good. So, Niners are the only team I might have above the Eagles right now. But on to the last game. This is my team, so it hurts to say this out loud. The Rams lost. The Rams suck. They went back to earth today. Two picks by Stafford, 18 for 33, 269. He still had a decent amount of passing yards, but two picks. Uh, Six sacks allowed by the O-line by the Rams. And I wanted to point that out because it just felt like 2022 right now. I really saw this and I was like, dang, like this looks like 2022. And then not to mention that it was kind of like that because, no Bloom and Jackson get hurt in the game. And so we're down a couple O linemen right now for who knows how long. And not to mention though, Chase absolutely cooked the secondary. He made a comeback, 12 for 141. And even with Higgins shitting the bucket, the Bengals, still were able to have a decent offensive game. And we lost to Joe Burrow on a freaking calf. On just one calf instead of two. Bengals, I will say this though, I'm pissed that the Bengals called a timeout when we could have had a TD. And it sucked because at that point that probably really decided this game. Because I actually will say we were able to move the ball decently still, but the problem was the turnovers. And yeah, it was just difficult to watch if I'm being honest. It was hard. But I'm gonna let you, say whatever you want to say. Just say whatever you want to say. I don't really want to think about this game no more anyway.
What can I say, man? The Rams had a classic downfall, classic, uh catastrophe from the Rams. That offensive line is horrendous, bro. That offensive line needs help. They need all the help that they can because Hendrickson, right? He was cool. He was cooking, man. That guy went on for like 4 sacks, 3, 4 sacks, and one of them was removed because of a penalty. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that Bengals defense clutched up for sure. But yeah, the Rams were just horrendous from the second half. Honestly, from the start of the second half, just couldn't figure it out. And like you said, Higgins was horrendous again. And it's just like he needs to figure his thing out because at this point, I want to give him the Tony type of treatment because he just couldn't catch anything. He just really couldn't catch anything. And but like I said, the Rams were just bad. And if I'm being honest, I think this is just the snowball. This is just a snowball now. I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know. I don't know if even Cup can solve this team. I really don't know. It's a
Oh,
question. It's a question I have for you. Do you think Cooper Cup is still gonna have a great performance for the rest of the season?
I don't even know. I no, I think he'll for sure be near 2021, 2022 levels, but man, I don't even know how to feel right now. I mean, I do think we are receiving depth for sure improved at the same time, so I'm not too concerned anymore like I was. But like I said, man, the O line, I'm getting flashbacks. I'm getting flashbacks right now. I really am. Like having a horrible O line is not fun. Like you're literally seeing your quarterback pressured, making mistakes, and actually, I really do think we have finally have a real legit wide receiving trio. Tutu Atwell still did decent. Puka Nakua still did decent. And now, if we have them two with Cup, I can really see a decent trio in LA, like legit. But
What
that's
I'm
gonna be
surprised.
altered if this O line is so bad.
You know what I'm surprised about?
What?
The odd man out. Van Jefferson.
You know, after last year, I didn't. I mean, he suffered a big injury before last season, if I remember correctly. So, not too surprised that he isn't the first or second option. But I will say I am surprised by the fact that Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua are performing at the lowest they have been. Because, I mean, I definitely am never doubting Stafford's ability to throw the ball, but for sure when he has pressure,
It's over.
it's like it's yikes. It's like he's gonna make mistakes.
I want to say that I had a feeling it was going to happen because if you look at my dynasty team for one of our leagues, I drafted both Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua. So like I had somewhat of a belief that these guys were gonna kind of you know feed off Cup's absence, and it's been nothing but crazy to me just seeing how they've really you know blew up. They really developed right away. Tutu Atwell came out of nowhere. Puka Nacua came out of nowhere. So I mean, you guys have something set up. It's just the offensive line is just not good. The offensive line is not good, and that obviously the defense just took a big hit. I've been saying it like that defense was not going to be good, and they're not good. They're not.
I'm not good. I don't know. I don't really want to say too much because I don't know how I feel about everything I saw still. But I will say one more thing. Like, you know, we had a nice interception. Okay, so I'm not, and we had a couple sacks. So I'm not gonna sit here and say that our defense is as bad as I thought it would, but it for sure didn't look great. But nevertheless, I mean, this wraps up the week three recaps. You know, and brief fantasy update. One out in all three leagues I'm in this week, and I'm gonna face you for finally face you next week. So and it was for the lineups we displayed a few weeks ago. I feel like maybe we should start off that week discussing who wins that matchup. But what's your take?
100%. I'm ready, man. I already looked at the projections, and it's looking kind of rough for me. But I'm just waiting on Waddle to get healthy. It would be good, but we'll see. The running back position is interesting. I have Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry did not do good. I'm pretty mad about that because I'm pretty sure that's the sole reason I lost today. I lost against Nathan, our other our other member.
Yeah,
Uh, you know
I mean, and the thing is, Nathan, he's not that good. So
he's 0-3 in the other league, the
yeah, that's what I'm
dynasty. I
saying.
think
He's
it's
not that.
dynasty.
Yeah, he's not performing like he should. At least that's what he thinks. But
No, yeah,
you
but hold on. I do want to say that uh it's going to be a little bit of bragging rights that week. A little bit of bragging rights, little glimpse of like what's to come because I mean, we still got a lot of more matchups to go through, between us. So yeah. I mean, we're both 2-1 in that league, I'm pretty sure.
I'm two and
So
one in every league. 2-1
me
in
too.
every.
Me too. Yeah, me too.
So we're both good at fantasy, and I mean, you guys, if you guys that watch me for real, you guys know I already create content, so can just keep paying attention to that. But nevertheless, this pretty much sums up the episode. And I don't know what he's trying to say or trying to do, but any last remarks?
Yeah, I will want to say that we're one follower away from 50 subscribers on YouTube. So I do want to give a brief, shout out or a brief, announcement. If we get to 50 followers, we should do a Q&A. We should do a Q&A. We should let all the TikTok followers decide. We did hit 51 on TikTok, so like we're pretty
Yeah,
much on pace. We're pretty much even. But I want to, tell our TikTok followers that if we get to 50 subscribers, we should do a Q&A where we talk about where they ask us anything. They ask us about any teams, any, sits and starts, and we'll answer. We'll see. We'll figure out the format. We'll figure out the time, but we should do that. I think just as a simple, little, celebration. But yeah,
yeah,
another thing. I mean, we're at 20 episodes now, so it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy to me.
You didn't think we'd get this far?
No, I mean, it's crazy to me how fast time has gone and how I mean, 20 episodes feels long. It does, but then again, we took a hiatus, so yeah.
Yeah, we took a little hiatus, but we'll just try to keep pushing and try to do as much as we can. And I really do believe that as I feel like I'm enjoying this, even though we barely have any subscribers, because it's like, we talk about something we care about, something we like to watch. And I just sometimes wish we had a little bit more time because like lately we've been doing this on Zoom just so we can for sure have a good episode in because it's tough. Like we obviously have lives and um, we just can't give up on life. So it's very good that we still can do this, but I sometimes wish we could actually do more. But then again, life is real. So um, pretty much make sure you guys like, comment. Hopefully, we get to 50 subscribers by the time the next episode airs out. And catch you later, Lopez.
So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Continue supporting. Follow TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Thank you.